On behalf of everybody in the room, thank you for your service for 18 years and to your family as well. And you mentioned those that come next. When we talked about what we could do today, we felt that in order to go forward, we need to know the context of where we came from. And so I'd like to invite to the stage, we'll head over to the chairs and invite to the stage all of your mayors for Frisco since 2002. Please give it up for Mayor Mike Simpson and Mayor Masso. They tell me this is the first time they've ever been together on one stage for this conversation. Is this true?
I think so.
That's unbelievable to me. So why don't we just level set to start and go down the line? What years are we representing here in Frisco?
Mike Simpson, 2002 to 2008.
Mayor Masso, 2008 to 2017.
This was a test, right?
Then on council, of course, 2000 to 2007. So
2017 till present.
And as you look back on those years, I'm sure we all have a lot of lessons learned. You have the beauty of hindsight at this point. But is there anything you learned from your time that you would pass forward to whoever comes next?
We'll defer to the elder statesman.
Anything that I learned that we would pass on to the next. In the case of Frisco, and at some point I'm going to talk about what it was like back in 2000, 2002, but in the case of Frisco, it's that we can accomplish anything that we want to accomplish. When everybody works together, we have a team of not only in the city, but with our partners throughout EDC, CDC, the CVB or Visit Frisco, all of those working together have enabled us to be what we are now after my 28 years in Frisco and since mayor in 2002.
I guess the key word I would say is patience. Unlike most things we do in our personal lives, the big difference is cities are forever, right? And we don't have to solve everything today. We just need to do it right, do it with planning, and be prepared. With the hypergrowth Frisco experienced, if things weren't planned out, it would have been a disaster. If the council didn't have a strategic workshop to look at where we want to be, the citizens didn't get involved. So patience is a key. And the second thing I would say is go in with an open mind. Can't tell you how many times somebody has called us, Mike or Jeff, and said, the city's terrible, this is really bad, and they convince us, it's like, well, that's not right. And then you get up on the stage and you already have your position all set, and you're not coming in with an open ear, an open mind, and all of a sudden you get the other side of the story, right? And it's like, oh crap, I just promised this person I met with that we're gonna be behind him, but it's not good for the city. And so those things are probably the two key things: is patience and go in with an open mind when you're trying to make these decisions.
Every department by department, we're able to attract the best of the best, and we've just got an amazing team as part of the city. I mean, in many ways, our job is to stay out of their way, lean on, and trust the incredible people working for this community.
Yeah, that's really good. Let's take it all the way. And what were some of the big wins and changes, when we saw that line graph of population growth? Take us back to 2002 and those years. What were some of the first things that you were excited about?
Well, I think everybody needs to understand that in 2002, we were just beginning to make a move from a small town to a city. Our city hall used to be in the School of Rock on Main Street. Does everybody know that?
Couple doors down from us.
Couple doors down from the chamber. We had the mall. Mayor and I talked about the fact that when we got on council in 2000, the first thing we did after our summer work session is to come back to the grand opening of the Stonebriar Mall. So we had that engine coming. We were bringing people here, but what else would get them to stay here? We didn't have any mountains. We didn't have any lakes. What was going to be the draw to Frisco? And that's what eventually got us into Sports City USA with all the things that happened after that. But in 2002, one of the biggest things in my mind ever happened was the benefit and happened because of our citizens. We passed a $197.5 million bond election. That enabled us to build a city hall, a library, a police department, a fire department, a senior center, $74.5 million worth of roads, all kinds of things that we didn't have. So when people came to Frisco, we wouldn't take them into a little corner building that was a bank and now is a School of Rock to do the negotiations. And after that, in 2006, was a $198 million bond issue. So those things that allowed us to do and make Frisco a city that represented what our citizens wanted us to be happened because of the citizens of Frisco and those two bond issues. And at the same time, we decided we were going to have the Rough Riders, the Stars. We were going to have a Hunt Sports Group with FC Dallas, and we were on our way to become Sports City USA. It's amazing in 3 years, all the things. They talk about our staff. The council and the mayor can get all these things done, and the citizens can give you the bond money. But when it comes to getting the work done, you can't do it without a great city manager, staff, and all the other city employees.
I'm going to outdate Mike here a little bit. Before the School of Rock, it was the Boys and Girls Club building. And my first meeting was in that building in 1996 with George Purfoy. And he was an adversary, by the way. I went in there, and I'm a business guy, and I'm going to come in there and show the city manager why building an airport in Frisco was wrong. Okay? Bill Cox, the mayor-elect of McKinney, is here. Bill, where are you? Stand up. I know you're out here. Stand up. The newest mayor of McKinney is right there. There you go.
Congratulations, Bill. Congratulations.
So, Bill, we did this before you all did it, right? Just for we landed a 737 in Frisco, parallel to Legacy Road, right over Starwood's Homes, right? Mike and I became activists early on because of that. And so I sat with George Purfoy in his office, and he laid out everything to me right in front of me with the details. And I thought, gosh, I thought I was going to manipulate him to give me this information. But that's really historically the culture of Frisco. It's transparency. Frisco was fiscally conservative before that word became cool. Mike mentioned the bonds. Frisco had grown rapidly in 1992 from 6,500 to 1996, probably about 15,000, to the year 2000 when we were elected to 33,000 people. Yet Frisco was in the same offices, the same buildings. Our police department used to do their investigations in the hallway floor of City Hall, which was the old Boys and Girls Club. And the reason the city waited and did it pretty much all at once was to make sure the revenue kept growing, the taxpayers were well served, the taxes were low. And so, again, back to that main word of patience, Frisco was patient. So when somebody asked, when was City Hall built, or fire headquarters, or police headquarters, or the rec center, it was all in 1996 they were opened, right? 1 year. Talk about that kind of volume, but there was a reason behind it, and it was a well-planned out reason. Of course, we had the master of all masters, George Purfoy, as our city manager of really watching out for let's give him, it's never can say thank you enough to him. Yeah. So who I am today was pretty much learning from him everything he knew, and I'll never get there. So, and the other thing I would tell you about George is don't ever bet against him. You'll lose, because I learned the hard way.
So in our pre-call Zoom yesterday, I have my 200,000 Frisco population in my Zoom background, and Mayor Simpson was talking about how he has the same sign with the 100,000 population. And I actually learned for the first time that Mayor Mike may have fudged the numbers so that he got 100,000 under his term.
He's got an answer for that. Watch this.
But I do commit, Mayor, that we're going to have city staff make you 150,000 population signs. So went over during your tenure, so you have your version. But you speak on kind of building. When you have kind of three generations. Nothing in Frisco. Frisco's a very different city. Had Stonebriar Mall not come to Frisco. We'd be talking about a totally different reality. We don't become Sports City USA if during Mayor Simpson's time that Toyota Stadium doesn't come here, and before him, the Rough Riders. Of course, under Mayor's tenure, the Star was a big international win in the project, and quite frankly, the Star is the vision that we took and laid out for PGA Frisco to recreate in a golf setting. So we don't build that project had the Star not come to Frisco. So, you continue to kind of build on identities and things that have come before. Mayor Simpson and my 10 years have interesting parallels because he was building the first of everything, the new city hall, the new police building, the library, the first senior center, and now over the last couple of years, we've come back and redone all those facilities to take us to build out. So he would come to all of our ribbon cuttings, for the library, the new Grove, all the different annex buildings that we've kind of gone through. So it's kind of different generations of the first of things, and then now this is the last. Hopefully that takes us to build out.
By the way, I reminded Crystal that this is the 20th anniversary of the Embassy Suites Hotel. 20 years ago in April, it opened. Hard to believe.
That's a good point, because as we look through our chamber memberships, we are starting to have more and more 20-year anniversaries. 20-year chamber member celebrated one the other day, but it truly is. This community has grown up, and now we're having these big milestones. We have to be sensitive to everybody's time, but I would have this conversation all day long. I want to make sure that each of you gets the chance to say you have 600 roughly business leaders in this room who will be very influential going forward in shaping our city, in helping elect the next mayor, whoever comes next to lead. What would be your vision, words of wisdom, anything you'd want to share as parting words with this room?
You talking about words of wisdom to the next mayor and council, or to all the chamber members? I would say, in my opinion, that you have to be prepared for things that you would never expect to happen. And when they happen, as leaders, you have to be able to stand up and show the people that elected you that things are under control, that it's going to get done. It will happen. You would never have thought that a hurricane in New Orleans would affect Frisco. That happened during my tenure. You would have never thought the economy would tank like it did when Mayor Massa was there. And things happen, and you can't sit back and everybody point fingers. Everybody has to be able to work together to resolve the situation. And it will get done. Frisco is a strong city. It's had strong leaders. And the great thing that I think is, from Mayor Bob Warren to Mayor Kathy Ci to me to Mayor to Jeff, we've all had the same goal, and that is to make Frisco the best place in the world to live. And I think we've been able to accomplish that because of the people and the businesses that are here. So have faith. Don't panic when something happens that you don't expect.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, Frisco is a model that was used regionally, statewide. In fact, I know David Bristol, mayor of Prosper. David, why don't you stand up also? Where are you? There.
David's here.
A lot of people don't know that he was a Frisco resident first, so here we go. We trained him. But there's competition with Prosper, but there's also a lot of cooperation, and we learn from each other, right? But I would just say, from an elected official perspective, learn. Lean on your staff. You have amazing people that help operate the city, from Marla Rowe with our CVB to Dana Baer with communications, our city manager, Jason Ford with the EDC, and Harry Whalen. Harry, raise your hand. Harry, he's retiring. You have not lived life unless you went on an international trip with Harry. It's like everybody on the plane will know your name and know you are, and they're best friends with you. But he really sold Frisco well. How many projects we got their attention internationally, Harry. So it was a pleasure to learn from people like that. So the city is made up of great people, great residents, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that give of their time and effort. These companies that moved here are here. They help us. They help us grow. Government can't do very many things. Public health, safety, and welfare. We really depend on the private sector. You see all these sports here. It's not because we love sports and tourism, and those are to really get a return for our taxpayer. Those are public-private partnerships to help the city stay sustainable. Cities, again, are forever. Everybody here, the companies that are here, they'll tell you They're doing R&D all the time. If they don't, they go bankrupt. Who had a BlackBerry, right? How many of you? Top of the world, where are they now? Cities do not have the luxury of R&D. We're limited by law. You got property tax, sales tax. So the R&D, this council decided in the 90s, mid-90s, 1990s, that tourism helps keep financially sustainable. And it's panned out. If you look around you, whether it's the Star and the Country Awards or the NCAA Division I championship game with the Hunt family, those have been a financial impact to everybody. And so it's worked like it was supposed to. Investing in the community keeps you from deteriorating. And partnering with all of you is what it's about. Every family in Frisco and the region deserves the opportunity to earn a living. And we could not do that without the companies here, without the investment they make. So being a partner with them, the city, that's the reputation of Frisco. That's what I would say is you keep your reputation of getting the deals done so the taxpayer gets a return. And we can quantify that return all day long.
Yeah, and I know we're running out of time, but I was going to piggyback on Maher's comments, which is, there's probably a reason that the three of us all have business backgrounds. The city of Frisco has never taken a traditional look at running a city like a traditional government entity would. We've always taken that business mindset. And to piggyback again on Maher is you have to continue to reinvest in yourself, in your community. You have to continue to look at those projects that are going to keep pushing you forward that, kind of once you go stale, just like as a company, that's when you die. That's part of my No Sally mantra, which I'll close with, which is I hope that, Frisco never becomes a city where we settle to be the same as last year. That we're always moving forward, always looking to excel, and always looking to be better.
And I want to add one little thing.
Yes.
Last word here, right? No. We're not competitive at all up here.
We talked about this.
And
on the
Dana,
call
thank you
yesterday.
for teaching me back in 2000 to sit on my coattail. So you learn little things right there when you're doing interviews. Mike mentioned this earlier, preparing for the unexpected. With the first emergency preparedness drill that I asked our police fire department to do, we were all asked, what's the worst thing you can imagine that could happen in Frisco? And came to me, my turn, and I said, a meteor hitting the city. And which is probably not going to happen, right? But the reality was you'll never know what bad things can happen.
COVID.
Ebola. I had Ebola. We had an emergency meeting about Ebola. The key is being prepared as a city, as a staff, as elected officials, being on the same page, because bad things will happen. And if you are not on the same page, it's not going to go well for the residents. And the last thing I would leave you with is a really big thank you. Nothing would have happened, nothing, without the partnerships with the school district, the college. We're in charge of about 50% of our destiny regionally, whether it's our Regional Transportation Council or Dallas Chamber. We depend on others, but the top one is our residents, our citizens, all those bond elections to build roads. And sometimes, by the way, there were roads to nowhere. If you look at where the PGA is today, we knew when the mall opened back then, malls were a hot thing. The next one's going to be probably 10 miles farther. And David, it was a competition with Prosper, right? So we built roads and water and sewer out there. The taxpayer invested that, allowed us to invest that, so we were prepared. And so without that support, without the taxpayer being behind the city, nothing would happen. So that's why communication is really important, transparency is really important to make sure our residents understand what's taking place and have a say in it. It's a critical component, because without that, nothing happens.
So it's dangerous to give a mayor a microphone. This is why we've never done one with 3 mayors before.
It all makes sense now.
So I would like to go. I would like to go on record. Is my mic still on? I got my numbers that we were over 100,000. from the City of Frisco's website, 103,000 at the end of 2007. We're not really competitive, but yes, my sign was correct, Mayor
Well,
Chambers.
see, I was taking over from Mike, and that break, it was really critical, right? So, because he convinced me to run, right? It was, the economy was going, where in 2017, 18. And I said, why do I want to be part of that after we just opened every building on your watch? I'm going to get the credit for tanking the economy. Thanks, Mike.
Can I just make,
Just one
wait
more.
a minute.
One-
This
one
is
more.
a serious thing.
You had nowhere to go, right?
No,
That's
there's two groups of people that need to be thanked. We have 17 years total in council and mayor, 18 years total council and mayor, 8 years total council and mayor. I would have run for another term, but the charter said we were term limited at 2 terms. So all of the mayors, I believe, really have worked well together, going back from Bob Warren and Kathy C.I. forward and to the next mayor. We couldn't have done it without our families and our wives. My wife, Sandy, is over there. We've been married 63 years in August. These guys have wives that have kept them, and if you're going to run for office, you got to have all in by the family and your bride. So, and thank you for all the years that you've supported all of us.
And
There's,
thanks to the chamber.
thank
We
you.
have to thank the chamber for putting this on, so thank you.
Thank you. Let's give it up for our mayors.